This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Duck and Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you. Good Monday evening, folks. Mark Jeffries here along with my man that is not sitting to my right, Mr. Matt Pangrack. This is BTL, and we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing, man? You're muted.
I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am, man, long day.
How was your, one of the reasons we're doing the evening shows, right, is you're doing a teacher certification thing during the day?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was interesting. Never been to one of these before. I mean, I've been at this high school. This is year number 5, but it was the first time that I ever had to go to these things. But you see all the teachers from high school, middle school, elementary school. You break up in group sessions. There was a lot of UPS flashback today with the breakout discussions. And, oh, yeah. It's not the corporate world.
Are you a group leader?
No.
You just
not at
sit
all.
in the background?
I was in the back row, dude. I was just chilling, getting some skilling. That's what I was doing. Anyway, have 2 more days of that, and then Thursday is the first day of class. Actually, tonight, they wanted me to stay, and I was like, whoa. I said, I got to go do the show. Tonight they have 3 open house nights because it's the largest class, I think, in the history of the school for the high school this year. Wow. And the freshman class is over 200 students, largest freshman class that they've ever had. So a lot of new students, a lot of people moving to Blanchard. But I am not there for open house, so I just put little messages on my door. Said, hey, if you need me, here's my email. See you on Thursday. It is what it is. So we've got a really, really good show tonight, and I'm sorry, folks, that we have to do a couple of evening shows this week. We will be back on schedule next week at our regular time, and then on Thursday this week, day 4 will be at 8:30 a.m. Central Time with the man Frank Scalish. So just a couple of evening shows, and it's pretty cool to mix it up a little bit and do these every now and then. It's been a few times this year where we've had to do an evening show. But I apologize to the people on the podcast. I know they're used to downloading that thing by noon, but unfortunately today and tomorrow you'll have to download that either later this evening or in the morning on your ride to work or wherever you're going. So it is what it is, and we've got Cliff Pirch on today, this evening, and should be a good interview. Haven't talked to him for a while. He's it's probably been a year since we've had him on BTL, Matt.
You know why?
I don't.
You had a horrible year, Mark. It was very on Cliff Pirch. That's why we're going to have him on. We're going to talk about it. He's designed a couple new baits. I want to talk to him. He stayed for like 8 or 9 days after the St. Lawrence event and practiced for next year's event. But listen to his – I mean, this is a dude who catches them. He's almost won on the St. Lawrence before. He likes that smallmouth stuff. We're talking an Arizona dude who's figured out how to catch them all over. I mean, I would say he's one of the is it a stalwart on the elite? I mean, he's a pillar on the Elite Series. He's one of the guys who's dude, this year he went 52nd, 24th, 45th, 74th, 36th, 73rd, 62nd, 76th, and 68th, including finishes of 76th and 68th on Champlain and the St. Lawrence River, which I didn't think was possible. I didn't think that was possible for Cliff Pirch to do that. So we're going to get him on, talk a little bit about that. Also, he designed a new like a new Ned head, and he has finally embraced the Golden Ram name because it's called the Ram Head.
Oh, really? Good job.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to him a little bit about the Ram Head, and then kind of why he stayed after. And then I said, if you got any new mountain lion stories, I would love for you to share that. For those of you who don't know, Cliff Pirch is. We can't say that he's a. I want to say he's like a certified bad. He's an awesome. He's a bad
fella. Dude.
He is one bad dude when it comes to the outdoors and elk hunting and guiding and stuff like that. So I've gotten to hear some of his stories about like crazy stuff like getting tracked by mountain lions and all that. And I was like, dude, if you got anything new, I'd love for you to break it out tonight on the show.
All right, cool stuff. All right, and then what do we have on tap tomorrow?
So tomorrow we've got another interesting guest. We're having Greg Mansfield on. If you remember a couple months ago, I was like, dude, you guys need to check out, probably 6 months ago, the Sickness YouTube channel, which is him and Joel Willard. He's a dude from Minnesota. He moved to Kansas. He's got a family. I think he we'll have to get the exact story. I don't know it, but I've kind of become friends with him over the past couple months. But him and his buddy Joel are fishing all of the NPFLs and all 9 opens this year. They did like 14 weeks on the road earlier this year, and he's fixing to leave for 8 consecutive weeks. And he's got a chance to finish in the top 10 in the NPFL and the TMPFL standings. And then also he's got a legit shot to qualify in the Northerns, and he's sitting in 12th in the overall in the open points. So a lot of stuff going on there, but just maybe someone that you're not super familiar with, but the guy chose to grind it out for 35 weeks in the minor leagues of professional bass fishing.
And we want to know why.
I want to know what would possess a man to do that.
Hey, I know people. I actually had a really good friend at one time. This is many years ago. He spent 10 years in the minors and never got a dip in the pool, as they called it. He played single A and he played A ball and double A ball his entire career.
Really?
Yeah, he went to spring training for the AAA team one time, but got sent back down. Did it for 10 years. So I don't know. That's a good get there. We'll see what he has to say about the time commitment, not only the financial commitment to do that for 34 weeks. Good grief. All right, man. I want to run something by you and get your take on this, because when I was coming home from school today, I was listening to an interview with a writer that is based out of the SEC here locally on the sports talk station that is here in Oklahoma City. And the dude brought up a point that I didn't even think about, and it relates to bass fishing in a roundabout way. The point that he brought up was, with OU and Texas going to the SEC, the television contract for the Big 12 is going to be blown up to smithereens. It's not going to exist anymore.
Because OU and Texas are going to pay their way out of it, so they can.
Well, no, because all these teams are looking for a place if the Big 12 doesn't stay together.
Right.
So the current TV contract that's in place is, I can't remember the number. It's a lot of money that the Big 12 gets to have Fox do the games.
Okay.
All right, because of the audience. You have 2 huge players in OU and Texas. Now, that TV contract is going to be a lot less, and the revenue that they make is going to be massively less, because even if the Big 12 still exists, maybe they pick up Houston, maybe they pick up Cincinnati or whoever it is, and they try to keep it intact. The value of that TV contract is dramatically going to be less. So Fox isn't going to be able to make the revenue that they could if they had OU and Texas remaining in the Big 12. So then he said, look, the bottom line is this. Fox is going to be hurting financially with this entire situation unless they pony up some more money and try to bid on whatever television contracts are coming up outside of what they were already involved with. He said, but their gem was the Big 12 and having OU and Texas. So then it got me thinking, man. Fox obviously made a financial commitment to what? Professional bass fishing.
Right. Was it a 3-year deal?
Yeah, and it's somewhat unique, and we actually had the senior VP or the president of sports programming on this show many, many months ago.
Right.
But the amount of revenue that they're going to lose as a result of OU and Texas going to the SEC and them losing ad revenue based upon the television contract, unless they can come up with something that's going to replace that revenue, they may be 3 and done, because they're going to be in a world of hurt when it comes to revenue if they don't put something together because of the lost revenue from OU and Texas leaving the Big 12.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that assessment?
How does this relate to bass fishing?
Dude, do you not know what really rejuvenated life from bass fishing being on television, and especially live? Who was it?
I don't know.
You got to help me out here. It Fox.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
But how does their
dude, if they don't have the money and they're trying to cut costs because of all the revenue that they lose because of
think they cut bass fishing potentially?
Dude, it's a corporation. Once again, now I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if the Big 12 does go away and OU and Texas leaves, now they're not going to have the opportunity to have that gem to make a lot of money.
I got you. So they're going to have to go with bread and butter and put all of their eggs in a different basket, which would possibly affect. No, they're still going to diversify. But the very first thing, dude, it happened at ESPN. The very first thing when networks start to decline in ad revenue, what's the first thing that they do? They start cutting. It's not go out and get more revenue. It's we've got to reduce costs. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're just curious as to where bass fishing fits on the chopping block if that happens.
Yeah.
And that's how OU and Texas leaving the SEC impacts professional bass fishing.
It does.
Potentially
it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because that revenue that was generated because of OU and Texas being in the Big 12 was a lot of money.
Fox has the Big 12 broadcast rights.
Yep.
Yeah. I got you.
Could impact it, and I never really thought about before.
Out and get Oregon to join, or a couple desert schools, and the Big 12 continues on.
I think it's going away, man. I really do. I think the whole thing's going away. I think a lot of those schools are going to end up in the Pac-12, and then you have a really good alignment of East schools and West schools within the conference, and you're going to have several institutions that are going to be scrambling to get somewhere.
So what you're describing is a trickle-down effect, or
trickle-down effect. And I've been there, man. I've been in the trenches when it comes to corporate cost-cutting initiatives.
Hey,
they look at everything, man.
I was talking to a UPS driver on Instagram, direct messages. He listens to the show a lot, and he was wondering what your role was at UPS, and I said, I think you were in management, but you also drove a little, right? What were you? What were you in there?
I went from part-timer to driver to supervisor to manager to controller.
Is that above manager?
Yeah. To region VP. All right. Back down to controller.
Okay.
When I didn't want to go to the Pacific Rim for 3 years, I said, no, that's enough.
Oh, he says UPS manager, a.k.a. the dark side. That's the guy who sent the picture of he sent the picture of I won't show the name, but he did send the picture of KVD in a kilt.
Okay, yeah, I got a chuckle out of that.
See that one right there?
Very nice.
There he is on the front deck.
Very nice. Power cranking in a kilt. That's very nice.
The power cranking in a kilt that matches his boat. So
anyway, no. So that was basically my 25-year career in 10 seconds. Anyway,
I got you.
I just think a lot of people out there, we talk about whatever else we want to talk about, that could potentially, on down the road, depending on what happens to the revenue that is generated because of the Big 12, for Fox, that could impact, if they have to reduce costs, it could impact bass fishing.
All right.
It really could.
That's interesting.
Never thought of that, did you?
That had not crossed my mind at all.
You're just worried about catching them. I'm worried about paying for them.
That crossed my mind. That was not one of them. Speaking of guys who don't worry about catching them, do you see Jacob Wheeler again?
Another 100-pound day.
Yeah, another 100-pound day as they head to the knockout round, or the final round of the Bass Pro Tour. What is it? Their 6th stop? I think I'm looking at it. Yeah, on Champlain. But guess what we get again? We get the pleasure of seeing a Wheeler, Justin Lucas, head-to-head showdown.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, this one. You got Taylor, Thrift making an appearance, that Jacopo Galelli, who is from the MLF Pro Circuit, making the most out of it. Dude, he was doing some really cool stuff. He was catching like 3 or 4 fish out of one tree, flipping it. Kelly Jordan makes a final day appearance.
Yeah.
Defo again. Timmy Horton makes a final day appearance, and then Wesley Strader. So a couple guys who have really struggled on the BPT since its inception. Kelly Jordan and Timmy make a cut, and then a couple guys who have dominated it from the beginning in Wheeler and Ayler's done pretty well there, make cuts too. But we also get to see Lucas and Matt Lee in the action tomorrow. Yeah,
I haven't watched any of the footage. Obviously, Horton has history there. I have no idea what they're doing. I'm going to watch.
They're doing all sorts of different stuff. You got guys who are chasing bait fish way offshore. You got guys who are flipping largemouth in creeks and rivers. You got guys who are flipping grass. You got guys who are frogging. Are they going to Ticonderoga? I don't know where they're. I think they're all over. They can trailer. They can literally trailer at any point of the tournament. So like if there's an hour left in the second period and they're like, I don't like it, let's go to Ty, they can put it on the trailer and drive 2 hours to Ticonderoga. Huh. And then launch. And then if it doesn't, they don't like it Ty, they can put it back on the trailer and drive back down.
Yeah, it should be a great watch tomorrow. I'm actually going to try and check some out at lunch or in between sessions because I can head to my classroom and pull it up on the big screen and see if I can catch some of the action tomorrow. But what a great final day field. It's pretty entertaining. We'll see what happens on that. Yeah. All right, man. Anything else?
No. I think that's about all that's going on. Kind of outside of that,
what about Iaconelli, man? I can't believe you weren't going to mention Iaconelli.
Oh, he won a kayak event.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, get out of his signature series kayak with the shark jaws on the front of it.
Yeah. No, that's kind of cool, man.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it was a home body of water, though. I mean,
it's not
surprising.
What it is. It was on his home body of water, and he is one of the best in the world. So, I mean, I don't see KVD doing anything like that out of a kayak, but that kind of fits Ike, don't you think? Like, kind of
it does. It's very, very cool.
Grungy, being able to adapt to whatever, taking things as they come. Like, it doesn't surprise me that he's really good out of a kayak. Like, if there's anybody that could do it, I think Ike would. What's incredible to me now that I'm past my mid-30s is that he's 50 down there in that kayak. He's pushing 45. How old is Ike? He's got to be pushing
late 40s.
Late 40s.
Yeah.
But super cool to see that. Yeah, he got the trophy and stuff. So still don't think so. Still think he would just do his TV thing and pay kayak anglers money next year, Mark.
I do. That's just my opinion. Not that it means anything. I had
that on the list we needed to talk about. Last minute 18.50 incher.
That's pretty cool. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back with Cliff Pirch, everybody, here on a Monday night. Not during the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Elite FS puts It's the full range of Lowrance fish finding tools at your fingertips. Find fish with active imaging 3-in-1 with Fish Reveal. Target fish with active target live sonar and watch fish react to your lure as it happens. Built-in C-Map Contour Plus charts make it easy to find key fishing areas. But best-in-class charts and powerful sonar is only the beginning. It's easy to build your fully networked FS system. From sonar and waypoint sharing to controlling the Ghost trolling motor and power poles. Lowrance Elite FS. Targeting fish just got easier.
Basscat's legendary 20-foot platform has been paired with angler-approved accessories for 2021. Puma FTD features the proven hull used by many of the top names in bass fishing today, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. The Puma FTD boasts a full team deck concept which enhances efficiency for you and your tournament partners. Turnkey tournament-winning performance. The Puma FTD SP from Basscat.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years.
Some companies big.
And some companies small.
All of them said they were making clothing for us.
But none of them knew us.
None of them were us. Except for one. Except for one.
Except one.
AFCO.
AFCO.
AFCO. AFCO.
Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
Everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. I'm like, X-Zone Lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone Lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why.
The bite.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's freaking big. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I think you get the point.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
All right, we are back in the evening, Monday night. Matt, he is in Tulsa, and I am in studio, and it is time to go to our special guest. Is he at home, Matt? Do you know?
I think so. Is he there?
Okay.
I don't see him in the queue.
Yeah, he's there. He's in the queue. I got him. Hang on, let's bring him in now. Cliff, you there, man?
Oh, he's in the queue. There he is.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
I'm here. As long as you can talk me through the electronic parts of it, I can do it.
You're good, man. It looks good. Are you at home? Is that where you're at?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Sitting in my backyard here.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick it off because Matt and I were talking, and I think he's 100%. I think he's 100% correct. This was not a typical Cliff Pirch year. It just wasn't. And I'm intrigued because I know what type of game that you bring to every tournament that you show up to. And I think it would be very valuable to the fans if you could just talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you went through this year, because it was not a typical Cliff Pirch season.
Yeah, it wasn't something I was happy with. Obviously, it was a down year. I really can't even explain it. I fished hard and I feel like I'm still a really good fisherman, but I just didn't make it happen, and I'm going to turn it around here soon. I've got some Western tournaments I'm excited about, and I need to fish some places I'm confident in and make some things happen, but it's going to turn around. It's not been about 18 months of not what I would like to have going on, but it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I don't have a lot of excuses. I just didn't catch them this year. Tournament fishing, if you do it long, you just end up going through cycles, and really don't know. I had some yucky things going on at home this year, and still I should have been able to do better than what I did. But I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to give you something to talk about again.
All right, Matt.
One of the things that I thought was interesting, and I talked to you a little bit about this earlier today on the phone, was, you go through a season that stinks even up to your standards, and I think me personally, I'd be like, thank God that's over. Let's go put the boat up and go track an elk or kill a moose or something like that and get our mind up. But you stuck around the St. Lawrence River after the season was over, because obviously we know Bass has signed a multi-year deal with the St. Lawrence Elite Series that started going there in 2013. Is going to continue to go there every year. But dude, you still have the fire. You don't just stick around for 7 or 8 days and practice if you're sick of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to learn more, and a lot of times when you find them up there, you're on such a short time frame that you might find them one day in practice, and then you can't really expand on them and catch them and hook them and learn. And this time I just decided I'm going to stay up there. I stayed another 8 or 9 or 10 days. It was something crazy. And, I just wanted to get better. And, I did the same thing after that. And I went to Oahe after that. So I just got home last week and been doing a lot of fishing. I love fishing. I still love fishing, and I got things I still want to do, so, it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around. A couple good breaks and some good things happening. It's going to be good.
I've always kind of thought of you as a finesse angler. You're out there in Arizona. You've got the desert lakes, but we've also seen you in classics and other tournaments throw big giant baits and fish bridges and stuff like that, and not just drop shot. Like, how would you describe yourself as an angler? Like, what is your kind of skill set? Because I think I kind of have you in a box as a finesse West Coast guy, but it seems like you can kind of do a whole bunch more.
Well, I feel like I'm pretty versatile. And it's kind of funny that you think of me that way. And I understand why. That's been more of my success more recently in more recent years. But, for a long time, I was just a power fisherman. I didn't even touch a spinning rod, But when I went from FLW to Bass, I needed to make it work, and in a way that historically I haven't done it. I used to be a little bit more of a go for it, power guy, commit to something. And when I went to the Elite Series, I really felt like I needed to be consistent. And, I gained that consistency, but it took a lot more leaning on the finesse side. And so, yeah, a lot of the things you've seen in recent years were more finessey, but I still love to do big stuff. I love deep cranking. It's just funny that, when you go out there, you just got a handful of guys that you think of as deep crankers. You got a handful of guys you think of as flippers, as river guys, as offshore ledge fishermen. There's all kinds of different categories, and they kind of put guys in those categories. And some guys are, some guys really just stay there. But it's funny. I look back, the tournaments I've won them on a topwater. I've won them flipping. I've won them on a deep crankbait. I've won them finesse fishing. I've won them on a football jig offshore. I've won them just a number of ways, and I haven't won them lately. I've still won some Western events here recently, but it's funny. I don't think of myself as a finessey guy, but I kind of got in that box, and I think you just go with it, and really, that's not a great place to be, except for when you're up north or maybe spotted bass fishing. We've seen Taku do real good lately. Taku is really fun to watch and just excellent, that kind of stuff, and that's another person you watch what he's doing. And I saw him at the St. Lawrence afterwards, and I saw him at Oahe, and I said, guys like that, he's committed to spending that extra time doing all the extra things, when we're all tired and stuff. And that's something I used to do a little more of, and I haven't in recent years. And I got 2 little girls, and they, they're pretty grown now. They don't need me, and I can barely get a hold of them on their phones. They're grown up. So I'm kind of coming back to a different point in my career. Things change through life, and I'm able to spend a little more time on the water all of a sudden again, and I'm just going to try to make it work right. You, like I said, you watch some of those Japanese anglers that are so committed when they're over here that, when the tournament's over, they're in the next place to learn. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us guys out here, we go home, and so that's something recently that I just felt like I wanted to spend a lot of time just fish catching, finding boulders, rocks and boulders. They don't move, they're there next time. So, I learned some of that stuff, and, just trying to refine your approaches and figure out what you're doing wrong, and getting back in the swing of it, So, I don't know where I'm at. You think of me as a finesse guy. I will not be finesse fishing over the next 3 or 4 events. I'm going to be power fishing, big stuff, crankbaits, top
I said that because I know that I think of you as flipping. That. But when you won the U.S. Opens and stuff, you've done a lot of power stuff.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Like flipping and cranking and swim baits and a little bit of drop shotting. But Lake Mead, you've power fished the heck out of that place to win lots of money.
Yeah. No, and that's all been power fishing. But the interesting thing about Lake Mead, there is a mix of finesse that has to go with it a lot of times, and that's something that it really did fit me for a number of years. That's been a great event for me, and I've won almost as much at the U.S. Open or one bass than I have in all my time on the Elite Series or all of my time on the FLW Tour, and so I do enjoy the Western factor. I really enjoy, because I'm just at home. When I go out there, we're in someone else's backyard, and I feel like you got to make work what you find. You get those short windows of certain weather conditions in practice, and you got to run with it. And I really probably haven't done a very good job of being free, with the way I fish out there. When I come home and I go to a tournament, I feel like I'm going to win, or I know how to win. And if I don't win, I'm doing things to win, and that's, it's a mindset that I've got to figure out how to translate back there, back onto the Elite Series, back east, doing things where I'm just confidently going for it. And something I've just got to reprogram and reevaluate, build my game up, and get better at again.
All right, Cliff, I have a question. When you reflect back, and I don't know if you even want to reflect back to this year, but I'm dying to know. Well, I really want to know, was there one particular event where you felt like you were dialed in during practice, and then when the tournament happened, it went away? Can you recall a specific situation that you can share that happened to you this year?
I feel like my whole season went that way.
Really?
Yeah. Champlain has not been particularly one of my great events in the past. A lot of northern ones have been really good to me. Champlain has not. This year, after practice, I was like, I think this is it. I think this is going to be the one. I'm going to turn it around, and I feel like I can win. And it was so different for me between practice and the tournament that I was baffled. I was catching big ones, and it was like every turn I made, every decision I made, I just landed on the right kind of fish to do really well. And man, when the tournament happened, they were different fish, and I don't know what happened. I honestly, I'm still just puzzled because, and I don't know if it's just things that you go through in life that, you've got to go through some tough stuff to get better, to rough the rough edges off, to smooth them off. I don't know what it is, but I felt like Champlain, I was going to win. And there was a lot of other events where I really felt good. My first bite on on the Sabine River, the land of dinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Six pounder.
Oh my gosh.
And I lost it.
Oh no.
I lost it.
Oh.
It was a bizarre thing. I saw it. I actually saw the fish on my active target, the Lowrance. Lowrance has a really good forward-looking sonar this year. We haven't had that in the past, and now I'm like, those guys had to be laughing at us. It's unbelievable the advantage you have to see them in front of you. And I saw a fish like 2 feet, maybe 4 feet in front of my transducer on the Sabine, and I was like, that can't be a fish. And I dropped my worm down there, and the thing bit, and it was a 6 pounder. Jumped over my trolling motor, jumped on the side of the boat, came to the back of the boat, rolled one more time. I got it close to me, went to grab it, and I hung up in something behind me just for a split second. And I looked up, and my marshal was filming me, and I had the butt of my rod hung in his pant leg.
Oh no!
I couldn't pull it to me, and I thought, well, I'll just let him go back down, and I'll readjust. I let him go down, and the fish came off, and I'm just like, I wanted to just break the rod over my knee, and
Wow.
I didn't lose it. I didn't lose it on my marshal, but I lost it in my mind, and it was just like really dumb things like that this year. There was just dumb things that I'm like, wow, that could have gone really, really different, And that messed me up from the get-go. That was at 8:30 in the morning on the first day.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to regroup. I'm going to catch them. But there's just something in your mind when you know that you just had a free ticket to the top 10. All you had to do was just stand there and hold a line in the water for the rest of the week,
Oh man.
And I just had things like that just I couldn't explain, and I just, it didn't go well. It didn't go well. And there's years where you get breaks when you catch fish that you shouldn't have. And I've had a lot of that. There was a U.S. Open win or two. One of them in particular where, I just got a lucky bite. And so things like that can really propel you into just, full steam ahead, winter mode. And I had the opposite. This season.
What was the lucky bite in the U.S. Open? I want to hear that story.
Well, I did. I caught a 6 pounder one time, and it was on Plan D on day one.
So this was in the summer though. This was the midsummer U.S. Opens, where like 8 pounds is a jammer bag, right?
Yeah,
8 pounds is big.
Well, 8 to 12, but you've got to have 8 on your low days to do good there. But you need to mix in a big bag, and I got it one time. I went to my first deal and it didn't work. I went to my second deal and it didn't work. My third deal, I got some fish. And my fourth deal, I caught a 6 pounder. Like that's a 6 pounder on Sabine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, oh my goodness, here we go. And it just, everything went right after that. I made every good decision, caught the heck out of them. And you've got to have a couple of those things go right sometimes to really roll. And but I've had them work in my favor, and lately they went in the other direction. So.
All right, I need to use this as a learning moment, because perhaps at a lower level, say the Bassmaster Opens, there's someone that may be going through somewhere he's like, really? That's going to happen this tournament? And then something happens at next and it's rolling. So have you had years where you've been able to turn it around? Do you look at it as, well, if everything that this crazy stuff is going to happen, let's just get it all out of the way one year and we'll just start over fresh? Like, what is your game plan as you realize this is not going as I had seen it going and a bunch of weird stuff is happening along the way? Like, is there a way to get out of it? Because you seem like a really positive guy, but you're saying it kind of eats you up inside too.
It does. And even at Champlain, to the last minute, to the last 20-minute stretch of every tournament day this year, I was full throttle and I felt like it was going to happen, and you've got to feel that way. You've got to fish that way. And, but there must be something else back in there somewhere that just kind of, that it could have been, and you're not, I don't know what it is, but, there's a lot of great fishermen that have bad things happen and they still adjust. They still make it happen. And I've had experiences where, things started out really bad. There was a tournament on Oahe a few years ago. and you know, I had a terrible start. You know, everything was going wrong, and I ended up in third, and I was really not far from winning. But my day one standings, I was in 87th, and you know, so you can come back from that. But
I remember that you all had like monster bags to come back from that. Like you'd have blown the thing away if you had just like had a decent day one, a normal day one.
Yeah, I only needed like 10 pounds the first day, you know,
just something.
And it was, you know, and there's a handful of tournaments like that in my career where I'm just like, that was the dumbest daggum thing on earth. I totally let those slip away from me. Some tournament wins, you know, and that was one of them. That's one of them that'll eat at me forever. And I'm super happy for Mark Daniels when he won that. It was a great deal. You know, him and Ish won back-to-back events, and you know, that was really neat for them. But that was also a totally missed opportunity for me. You don't get what I had handed to you very often. Like I had the free, here you go, dude, go ahead and win it. I mean, it was like, that doesn't happen much, you know. It doesn't happen much, but and you know, to go back to your question, I don't know, man. All you can do is work hard and just hope that you can stay in it long enough to turn the corner and you know, love it and work through it. You know, when something knocks you sideways, just look and see what's in front of you, and if it's, you know, if there's an option there, you go, and if not, you keep turning until you find the option. You know, I don't know what else to say.
It's amazing. I have this conversation just to put a bow on the close calls and crazy things happening with someone. I was just having one the other day, and I was trying to explain to them how you could have a long and prosperous career in professional fishing and never win. And they're like, well, how does that happen? And I'm like, I named off like 5 guys who, and I mean, have made over $1 million at it and are making 6 figures a year. It's a weird deal. I mean, that's why you got Rick Clunn crawling around cornfields trying to figure out why and how it happens and connect and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. It's a hard game, and it's a hard game, and it will chew you up and spit you out as many times as it wants to, and or try to, and you've got to just keep going. You got to keep going. You know, I'll give you an interesting quote, and this is, you know, I know you got to figure out your level of commitment, but when I was young growing up, my dad was a wrestling coach, and he had a superstar program, Dynasty, but on you know, above the door on the wrestling room, you know, it said, "Those who stay will be champions," and you know, he made that happen. You know, that guys that really weren't the best athletes, that weren't the biggest superstars, the most gifted, you know, they worked hard and did the right things long enough that you know, it started going their way, and you know, I kind of, that's kind of something that I go by, and I don't know what else to do. You just got to roll and try to enjoy it.
Well, Cliff, I have to ask, I don't know if you know or have any updates, but what can you tell us about the condition that Lake Mead's in? Do you have any idea?
Well, I hear doom and gloom every time I pull up social media, and apparently, you know, we had a really bad winter. You know, we had a great monsoon here the last month, which is a total blessing for the Southwest, but the winter, you know, the snowpack, the rains, the runoff just didn't happen this year. It was void. And so a lot of the desert lakes are down. The ones that didn't recover well prior to that are really down. Lake Mead's one of them. Lake Powell's one of them. And it's low, you know, so they're going to have to do some boat ramp work and hope it comes together. It's still a big old lake, but I sure hope it comes together. It's something I sure want to go be a part of here in a month or so, or a month and a half. And it doesn't sound good. You know, the lake's low, and it doesn't typically get water the way like a lot of our other lakes, like Roosevelt, where I'm at here. We had a great winter 2 years in a row prior to this winter that the lake is still in great shape. You know, it's full of cover, and it's fishing phenomenal. But Lake Mead was, you know, it takes a massive snowfall up in the Rockies and in Utah, and it depends somewhat on what's going on at Lake Powell, and there's nonstop water usage. Southern Cal uses it, and I wish they could figure out some desalinization on the ocean. I wish they could figure out how to get some water from the Pacific Northwest. You got the Columbia River dumping into the ocean. You got all those places with lots of water up there. Or just, you guys where you're at. I mean, what would a pipeline look like just going down I-40?
We can't even do a regular oil pipeline.
I know.
Heck, we're not going to be able to do a water pipeline. I mean, geez.
It's crazy. But if you could just get rid of the water you guys don't want when you're getting too much of it and just dump it in one of these places out here.
It's a good idea.
Or just send it straight to California. Just send it straight to California, and then they don't have to take so much out of the lakes, But I don't know what the answer is. I just hope we weather this one and maybe get some good winters again. That's all we can hope for.
I mean, like Overton and stuff has to be like gone, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was gone.
It's been gone.
The Virgin River, all that area is gone. There's the Grand Wash, all that stuff's gone. Now, more of it's gone. I'm gonna have to go up there and take a look around and see what the place even looks like, because it will certainly fish different. And I mean, you drop another 20, 30, 40, 50 feet out of those places, and hundreds and thousands of acres just disappear. So, we'll just see. I hope it comes together, is all I can say.
All right, kind of off the wall question, but I'm curious. How many times have you fished Elephant Butte?
Not at all. Not
really?
At all. And Elephant Butte was one that kind of went low right before I really got full stride in my career. And nobody really went there after the years that there was a Bass Open or two there. And a lot of my predecessors, when Skeet and, my buddy Mark Kyle, the guy that, lives here in my hometown, he's a superstar. Those guys in their generation, when Aaron was starting out, they all fished it. So it's another southwestern lake that I would love to be able to fish or have tournaments on, but it's another one that's just been low.
It's way down. Still way down. Interesting.
As far as I know, and I don't really keep track of the water level there. I drive by it all the time on the way home, but it's like 20 miles below where you cross there.
Interesting. I've always wondered whether or not that area or the lake itself would support another Open or even an Elite Series event at Elephant Butte. If it was close to being normal pool, or at least where it was when the Open was there.
The Elephant Butte can hold an Open if they put one on Louisville.
Yeah.
Good point, man.
No, I think it would be neat. I don't know. It has a lot to do with the local chamber folks and things like that, whether they're even into that anymore over there. I don't know how strong their bass clubs are, and there's obviously not a million guys from New Mexico that bass fish, so I don't know. But I'd love to go. I'd love to have one. Trust me. Anything west of Central Texas, anything west of
hometown
16 or 18 hours, give me something out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't get me started on that. We'll be on for another 30 minutes.
I could do 3 shows on that, but we'd gain a Western audience and make the whole Eastern audience mad, so it probably wouldn't be fruitful.
Wow. Hey, Mark, what do you think West Coast technique-wise, and I'm sure everybody thinks swim baits and stuff, but from a technique standpoint, what do you think has really been expanded away from the West Coast? Obviously, they still probably do whatever tactic you're going to say on the West Coast, but what has been expanded nationally that you never really thought it would? In other words, it was a technique that was kind of just a West Coast thing, and then boom, everybody started doing it.
Well, drop shot's the first one that comes to mind, but a little bit more of a sleeper is like the Nico rig. There was guys doing that on Shasta a long time ago. I mean, when I was starting, I can remember Hideki Maeda catching them on Shasta, as long ago as I was starting, you know what I mean? And he's from Japan. It may have been something they brought over from Japan, and probably was, but that was kind of a California thing, and look how common that is. Everybody's got that thing on now. It's kind of a still little secretive little deal, but that's a staple in a lot of really good fishermen's boat now.
Yeah, it's Matt's staple. Anything with a spinning rod and reel, yeah.
Okay.
He's dialed in. I'm not kidding, man. That's his jam. That's what he does, and he's really, really good at it. So,
well, it's a great technique, and it can catch big ones. And I got a top 10 on Lake Travis, of all places, doing that a few years ago in one of those Bass Fest tournaments, and since then it's become a real strong part of my arsenal. But it's just a fish catcher. It really catches them. It's a nice finesse technique. You can use it on semi-light line or real light line, and it gets bites. It really gets bites. It's a neat little technique.
And there's like a billion different ways you can rig it too. I mean, you can power fish it, like you said. You can super finesse fish. I mean, you can fish it deep. You can fish it shallow. You can fish it all different seasons. I mean, I would say that would probably be just if one person says, "Hey, I'm Neko rigging or wacky worming, whatever." Like, it's kind of like saying I'm cranking. Like, everyone just puts it in one thing, but there's a billion different things someone could be doing with it.
Oh, for sure. And whether it's deep suspended spotted bass or smallmouth and grass, smallmouth, deep smallmouth, largemouth. I mean, it really is a diverse technique that really will catch them in a lot of situations, a lot of times a year, and multiple depths. It doesn't look like that little light, dumb looking thing, but it'll actually fall like a dang rock. Mm-hmm. You can drop it to the bottom in some seriously deep water quick. It travels quick, so it works good shallow, but it works good really, really deep too.
I have a theory on why it's so good, and real quick, I want to see if you think it's right. It's because there is no signature to that bait. You can never have fish that get conditioned to a Neko worm because of the different weights. It's always going to fall a little differently. It's never going to quiver identically the same because every time you move it, it moves different. It's going to have a different cadence or fall. There's no way like a chatterbait or a crankbait or even you peg a 10-inch worm, it's always done, and when you hop it. But a Neko rig is always going to be slightly unique just based on its characteristics, and there's no way for a fish to become conditioned to that. Do you think that holds any weight, or am I like way off in left field?
Oh, for sure. And it's a real natural looking glide, a lot of times. And like I said, there might be one worm that swims a little differently to the bottom than another one. Even I give you an example. Recently, I had one on at Champlain, and I wasn't getting bit for a little bit, and I'm like, man, every fish I put it in front of lately was biting it. Well, I looked at it, and my worm was doing this weird thing, and it was kind of cloudy, and I couldn't see what it was doing when it was falling. Picked out another identical worm, dropped it on there, and caught him instantly. And it was just, it's just that perfect, beautiful glide. But one worm that was identical to another was not falling the same way. So you're right. I mean, it's a real almost like a fingerprint. Each one's a little different,
It's a good way of putting it. All right, several fans want to know what your thoughts are on the 2022 schedule.
I like it, outside the fact that it's all within 5 hours of everybody that lives in Nashville, Atlanta, and Knoxville, But yeah. I do like it. It's going to be another year of driving 100 million miles and going back there. But I like the locations. I like the timing, obviously I miss the Western stuff. I miss the cold weather spotted bass opportunity. There's some holes in it. I wish there was some more tidal and stuff like that. But in general, they're great places to fish, good times to go there. So it's going to be a fun season. It's going to be fun to watch. Great fish catches, and I like it. I do like it. I'm not against it. If I was making the schedule, there'd be some different things in there too. But I'm looking forward to it. I think I can do good.
Do you leave your rig and fly back home in between stops?
I did a couple times late in this season. Last year I hardly did it all. I didn't want to go through an airport and get sick and get worried about being down in the points or not be able
Yeah.
to compete. And so this year I got so sick of driving. I mean, and I don't like leaving my boat just out there for a while that, things go wrong or mice or just not being able to tinker and have my equipment, prime time. And so I just bring it home. But yeah, I started flying a few times again this year, less in the last 18 months than I have, for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I got back to flying here recently a little bit, but still a lot of driving. This season, I mean, I went to Florida and Tennessee and back. I went back and forth a bunch because I just like having my boat at home. I mean, I want to be able to fish when I'm outside of events, and I want to be able to think things through and be prepared on tackle. It's hard to get out there way long in advance for each of these events, and to get your stuff back in order. So I like bringing it home. It's just kind of a headache for living this far away.
All right, Matt. Anything else for Cliff?
Yeah, we got to go through a little bit of the tackle. We talked about it all, and you finally, it appears, I don't know if you had anything with the name, it appears as though you've embraced the Golden Ram a little bit, because Big Bite, and I didn't know about this until iCast, came out with a jig head called the Ram Head.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique kind of take on a Ned head finesse jig head deal. Talk about that one.
Well, yeah, it's just a great little Ned head, and the guys at Big Bite helped me with it. There were some things I wanted in a Ned head that we just didn't have yet, and through some back and forth with them, it turned out to be a really, really neat head. I'll tell you what, it's got first of all, it's got a strong paint job. The ones I was using before, the paint's always coming off and blah, blah, blah. It's got a really good bait keeper also. It doesn't have, that dumb little wire that you put on and it cuts your bait, and it cuts your bait when it comes off, and it's good for one soft plastic. It's got a double collar bait keeper on there, keeps them on. I really like that a lot better. Nice compact little jig head, super good hook. It's not this super wimpy one that a lot of brands use that, you just bend out on a 4-pound smallmouth or a big largemouth. It's a strong hook, ultra sharp. You can still use it with real light line, which you're mostly doing with a Ned rig. You're obviously fishing, 4 to 10-pound test most of the time. And so it works really good with light line, but it's still strong enough to hold them and not bend out. So I love the hook. I love the keeper. I love the paint job, and the name's pretty cool. Thanks to the guys at Big Bite and you guys and Mercer and Dave Brush and whoever came up with that.
I was just surprised they let you go. You signed off on it.
It was Dave. Dave is the one, wasn't it, Matt?
I thought it was Dave Brush, but I didn't know who, if it was.
We
I
did
didn't
the
want
whole
to take it from
Golden
you or
Ram
Mercer
thing,
or whoever.
and then Mercer went with it, and now it's the deal.
Well, I'd like to make it the deal. Yeah, it's a hey, if they're gonna name you something, it could be much, much worse. So that's a good one. That's a good one. So I'll take it.
What was the first bait you ever designed? Like, if in your entire career life, the first thing that ever you were able to ever go, holy cow, they're selling this, and I helped design it.
Well, honestly, there was a lot of things that I wanted to do over the years that bait companies were like, hey, we got a bunch of money in something else right now. We'll do it a little later, blah, blah, blah. Well, then next thing you know, Kitex got it. Next thing you know, Bass Tricks has it. I mean, that was a conversation like 20 years ago. And I'm like, guys, you need a little small swim bait in a package that has 8 or 10, and nobody's got it yet. Just a neat little finessey pretty one. There's guys in California making these little homemade hand ones. And, things like that. There's a lot of missed opportunities, and then, like when the Alabama rig came out, Arizona, you can only use 2 hooks, and so it was not really useful. And I remember I had a tournament where I was throwing an Alabama rig, and the water came up here at Roosevelt, and it got murky, and I was killing them on it. But once that happened, it really wasn't working anymore. Well, I was mad after the tournament. The day after, me and a couple of buddies here, we put like 5 blades on 5 arms of a little Alabama rig. Actually 5 plus a little one up in front of it. So it looked like just a really neat Magnum spinner bait, but it only had 2 baits in the back. And they would go, little swim baits in the back because we can use 2 hooks. Well, it put off a ton of vibration, a ton of flash, and it really got bit. We crushed them instantly on that. I went out after that tournament and caught 7-pounders where 7-pounders didn't even live before, And I was like, wow, we really got something. So that was something we kind of did on our own. And it kind of, I still got it, but it's not anything that ever really went into major production. And so the ram head, I'm just happy to have something going, and I got some really good ideas I'd love for these guys to help me with. But right now, the ram head, we're going to use that. We're going to catch them on it. We're going to win on it. And, some folks are going to really like that little Ned head. It's a good one.
Cool. All right. Last thing, Steve on the comments on YouTube wants to know if you can tell a quick, cool guide hunting story. Anything on the top of your mind?
Oh boy, good, quick, cool guide hunting story.
Just throw a mountain lion one in, or where you were tracked by a Yeti, or any of those that we've told. Like you haven't told any of those on the air. So just pick your best, almost eaten by a mountain lion story. Well, and that would be like a perfect ending, don't you think, Mark?
Yeah,
I'd love to do that. I got a good mountain lion story with my neighbor right here. You can see this. Let's see this mountain right here, like 400 yards. The mountain's only like 400 yards away, but it's too long of a story. But a mountain lion killed a deer, and my neighbor told me, hey, you got to come see this. And we went and checked it out. He ended up getting the mountain lion. It was a pretty crazy deal because it was a long story. But I'll tell you a quick one. I love to hunt horns. I love to look for elk horn sheds. And a few years ago, I had this great dog, man. She was awesome. And she was going with me. And when you're hiking, looking through the woods, I was hiking pretty fast. And it was right back here. There was a little patch of snow on the ground, and I was going around a little north face of a knob, and I noticed this dirt was on top of the snow. The snow didn't melt and show and expose the dirt. The dirt was actually on top of the snow, fresh. I was like, that was really weird, And this was all like in a split second. This went through my head like, what's that all about? Why would that be? What? And as I stepped over it, like between my legs, a bear face comes out of the dirt. A bear was coming out of the ground, pushing the dirt on the snow. And I literally did the splits over it, and I could have won the Olympics in gymnastics. I mean, I was cartwheeling, backflipping, getting off of that thing, and luckily my dog, she was the best dog on earth, Khalil, she got into its face to stop it and just give me enough room to just backpedal 4 or 5 steps, and the bear came out, and it wasn't like lethargic. It was coming out. It was so mad. It came out there snapping and growling and running after us. And she just got in its side all the way around, like 3 laps around me. And I'm just backpedaling down the hill as fast as I could. And she saved my life. I have no doubt that bear would have killed me because wow. I stepped over its face, like coming out of the, and it was a scary bear. This was not a regular bear. This was a bear that had it had no hair left on its face. A really old bear, white skin all over its face, and then hair back. It was the scariest looking thing you ever would step over in your life. But my heart went into my throat, and I was an Olympic jumping champion for about 30 seconds. And a sprinter after that, and a long distance runner. And I got way out of there, and luckily Khalil made it home, and she didn't get eaten somehow, and she got back. But that's my crazy hunting story for you. So, and wow. that really happened, and it really happened like right here where I live, like maybe a mile back behind my house. So
wow.
it was crazy. Yeah. So
that is crazy. Wow. It's a good way to end it right there. Jeez.
Okay.
That's a crazy story. I've never heard of.
I've got a lot of those now that I say that one, but I'll save another one for next time. I've got 4 or 5 good bear stories and some good lion stories.
I didn't know bears lost their hair on their face.
Dude, you never seen a hairless bear? They look like demons.
Well, see, really? I don't know why this one was like that. I assume it was maybe just really old or something, but it had no hair. It just had white skin all over its face. It was It was like
Google bear without hair if you want to have nightmares tonight.
Okay, yeah.
No, I need to rest tonight. All right,
I got
Cliff.
the real deal. I don't need that for nightmares.
Yeah, you know what they
He's got the experience, man.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff, Cliff. Thank you so much for taking time out, and hopefully the U.S. Open will go on in October. Is that right? Sometime in October, hopefully. Is that right?
Yeah, like a week or so into October. I'd like to nail down number 4, man. I'm going for it.
Yeah, good stuff. Make sure you check that out, folks. All right, Cliff, man, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good to see you.
All right, man, take care.
Good stuff, Cliff. I'll see you.
All right, thanks.
All right, see you. Wow, crazy story, Matt.
Look at that.
Oh! Don't!
Black bear without hair.
That is demon-like. You're right. Oh, my gosh.
I told you.
I want nothing to do with that. You're right. Nightmares, man.
I told you.
Holy. Jeez. Yeah, that's insane looking. All right, let's do this. So let's take a break, come back, wrap things up here on a Monday evening. You're trying to freak me out, aren't you? Jeez. All right, folks. We'll be right back to close out the show. Everybody stay tuned.
There's one. You know what works. Now you need a bunch of them so you don't run out on your next fishing trip. The Big Bite Pro Packs feature 25 baits per pack at a price far below that of having to buy 5 packs of regular baits. Now the Pro Pack has a big brother, the Mega Pack. The Mega Pack features 100 of your favorite baits.
With these, one bag is usually plenty to get through the day. It helps me stay organized, helps me save money, helps me catch more fish.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks. Why? Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
The Little John family of crankbaits designed by top tour pro John Cruz have excelled at catching bass in any condition for years. They all feature a flat-sided design and paint jobs that are seldom seen in mass production bait. The Little John family also expands with new rattling versions of the Little John 50 and Little John 50 MD. Both of these baits are proven fish catchers that will now be available in rattling versions for stained and muddy water. They feature the same great action and diving depths as the original 50 and MD sizes.
The Ned Rig. What rod should I be using with the Ned Rig? My favorite is the Denali Lithium multi-spin rod. It's our 7'4" length, great Ned Rig rod. It's got a great sensitive tip on it. It's long enough where I can make long casts, which you're usually fishing clear water with a Ned Rig, and it's got enough backbone to get those fish in. So check it out, Denali Lithium Series 7'4" multi-spin.
Everybody loves to chase bass on the water. But is your most valuable asset protected when it's not on the water? Empire Covers can preserve your bass boat against even the harshest conditions. When the storm is coming, that bass boat needs to be protected. Check out EmpireCovers.com for all your cover needs. Empire Covers is the ultimate solution when it comes to protecting that asset. Empire Covers is the ultimate solution in easy protection for your truck, for your boat, for your car, anything that needs to be protected from the elements. BTL listeners can receive free shipping plus an extra 15% off their entire order on EmpireCovers.com. Just use the promo code BTL at checkout. Empire Covers. Protect what you love.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed. Tested and proven by legends on the water. dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Duck It Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like the square bill, IDT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really on top of having my actions just perfect.
All right, we are back, wrapping things up here on a Monday night. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And then no show on Wednesday. Back at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday with Frank Scalish. Hey, by the way, Matt, I got to say this real quick. Two things, and then we'll close things out. The first thing is there was a fan by the name of Bradley, not Bradley Hallman, all right? And I just want to throw some props out to Bradley. As you're well aware of, there's been a number of people that have disagreed with me on my 1-year status on getting your tour card and that whole conversation, everything. I got to give it up to Bradley because the dude took the time to send me a novel. And literally it was a novel. And I read the whole thing. Then guess what I did? I sent him back a novel. And then guess what? He sent me back a novel. And after listening to and reading and comprehending exactly what he said, he had some really valid points. But the cool thing was, too, is he agreed with a lot of the points that I made. And to have a very friendly, business-like conversation without speaking on the phone, it was one of the best email conversations I've had with a fan since we've been doing this. So many props to him for taking the time out to do that. And as I do with all fans, I really try to respond to every single email that I get. But there was definitely something special about this, and I appreciate him taking the time to respond. The second thing is the show that we did with Frank on last Thursday, we have not experienced this. It's not the most downloaded show, but in a matter of 3 days, because I was looking at the stats, in a matter of 3 days, that show was downloaded over 10,000 times via the podcasting platform that what people use, which is primarily iTunes.
Right.
Over 10,000 people downloaded that show within 3 days. And if you haven't watched that show or listened to it, you need to, because it was some, what, do we call it deep? It was very interesting conversations about really reacting to what the fish is telling you on the water. And I can't thank the fans enough for being that interested in what we're doing with Frank on day 4. We have not experienced that many downloads on our podcasting platforms, plural, in a 3-day period where over 10,000 people downloaded that show. So many thanks to those people out there that did that, and hopefully Frank will continue to deliver on Thursdays.
Absolutely. I also want to give a shout out to Vaughn from, I want to make sure I get the country right, Botswana.
Oh.
Did you get that email? So he's been sending stuff,
so.
And I have not seen them. He sent like 3 emails, and he's like, hey, dudes, I'm afraid my work emails are getting blocked or blacklisted, so I've tried my backup account, and then he's like just pasted all the emails that we didn't get to see.
Okay.
And it's awesome. So, I mean, he goes through stuff about like comparing field hockey to some stuff that happened to be at the James River. He goes through some IGFA world record stuff. He talks about weird rules. There's all sorts of stuff. So I got to go through that and then answer Vaughn. I think that's how you say it, don't you, Mark? Vaughn?
Yeah, I think so.
Vaughan.
Yeah, Vaughn.
He said Botswana, Africa, other side of the world.
That's cool. That's cool. Hey,
he's talking about the Pinboy strike of 1947.
Yeah.
From the bowling history.
Yeah. I wasn't around. Some people might think I was around then, but I wasn't around.
I think that was the year my dad was born.
Huh. Wow.
Anyway.
That's good stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah,
hey,
Cliff brought it. Cliff did a really good job.
Yeah, really, really good. If you missed any of that, definitely need to go back and watch or listen to it. Some very insightful stuff from Cliff. A couple people want to know, let's see here, one particular, why do you think they don't do live coverage of the Bass College Championship?
Because it costs a lot of money to do live coverage.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, the market for that is much smaller than the Elite Series.
Yeah. I don't know if they had a sponsor for it, and obviously they had the revenue being generated to position that product, they would do it live. I don't think it's something that Fox would get involved with. Could be wrong, though. But I just think it's a cost deal. Man, it's always about money, Matt. Seriously.
Well, I know.
I mean, a lot of things that we talk about on this show, it's all about money. It's just the way it is. Hey, by the way.
It's not all about money. You make it all about not you, but we as a society as a whole have been programmed to relate its relevance and its importance to the money associated with it. That's what I'm saying. Like
that's nothing to do with being programmed. That's just factual information. And you know what I saw today? This is no joke. In my feed, because I was looking for something that supposedly one of my students posted that was wrong anyway. Dude, I saw an ad for a boat that was $130,000. A 2021 for a bass boat for $130,000. It was a Vexus.
Really?
It probably had 30 grand in electronics on it, though.
It was new or used?
It was 1 year old.
So it was used?
Used, yeah. It wasn't even brand new, dude.
For 130. Did the
130? Oh, let me back up. $129.95. $129.95.
I bet you could get it down to $125 for a steal.
You think?
Yeah, you could get it for a steal for $125.
Yeah. Okay. It is what it is. You know, it's crazy. But
I was talking more about. I mean, I wasn't talking about like concrete things. I was talking about the monetary value associated with experiences. No.
I'm lost.
Nothing. You're saying it's all about the money.
Well, it is. I mean, so many decisions in this industry are based upon, does it make us money or how much is it going to cost us? I'm not talking about, well, with some professional anglers, yeah, they have to ask that question. But I mean, from a business perspective, be it manufacturers, retail, whatever it is okay, if what we're going to spend this money on, is it going to make us money? Or guess what? We're not making money. We better cut cost. Anyway, it's crazy. It is what it is. Have you been on the water, man?
And that, folks, is why OU and Texas moved to the SEC will kill professional bass fishing forever.
That is not what I said. I said it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and how much of because let's face it, the crown, it's not the crown jewel. It's one of the jewels that they have, but the crown jewel is the NFL that Fox has.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they make a big chunk.
Series. And Gus. Sure. Gus is a crown jewel.
What?
Gus, the announcer.
The college football?
College football, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's money. He's good.
Yeah. Where he's like, keep running, big fella. Like that. You know, he's the man.
He's really, really, really good. Anyway, we will continue this conversation along with other topics tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time.
NPFL, Bassmaster Opens.
Yeah.
I'm confident to say, has spent as much time on the road as Brandon Polinick. probably spent as much time on the road as anybody fishing this year.
Yeah.
Anybody, like, in fishing anything. Like, yeah, I'd put his numbers up against John Cox. I'd put him up against Polinick.
Yeah. By the way, Cox in the Classic. Did you see that? John Cox in the Classic?
Did you see they finally came out with the Classic list?
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Scott Martin. Does that dude fish the Opens? Does he just pay entry fees for all of his buddies who are in the Classic to fish Opens? Does he? How does that work? He's got to get in. He can't come over and not be in it.
I have no comment.
I mean, there's.
I don't know, dude.
He's got to be right now trying to figure out how he's at Lake Hartwell in March.
Oh, I'm sure there's some figuring it out going on.
Because all it has to be is some guy who doesn't win. So, like, he was 2 out, and then the dude who won at Oneida hadn't fished, and then that got Ray Hanselman in. And then Scott's like, holy cow, now I'm next. And, I mean, like, Ray probably thought it was a long shot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you need someone who's not in the fishing all of them to win one of the Final 4 Opens, or an Elite Series guy. We basically need someone who hasn't fished all of them to win it, or someone who's already in to win it.
We'll see. We still don't know who's coming back next year, though. That list not out yet.
No.
So hopefully that will appear very soon.
It's weird because you would think that would be black and white.
Yeah.
Would you not?
Hey, we've had that discussion already. So
you have this many points, you finish above this, you finish, but
it is what it is.
On every tour.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. See what happens. Interesting times during the off season. All right, folks, that's going to wrap things up. Want to thank Cliff Pirch once again for taking time out to be on the show. And we'll be back at you tomorrow. Everybody out there, be safe. That's it. We're out of here.